Hello and welcome back. My name is Amara, and I'm going to be your host today. I've just joined the team here, and I'm excited to be in the chair today bringing you this story entitled Signal in the Game. Fables Adventures is the daily podcast of audio stories for older teens, young adults, and anyone looking for a quick and enjoyable listen. But it's not just for listening. Head on over to YouTube and Spotify, if you're not already there, and subscribe for the video illustrations that we've put together for you. We're really enjoying bringing you this content. So again, hit like, subscribe, or leave us a comment. And with that, let's get on with Signal in the Game, and we'll see you on the other side.
The prediction engine. You're 3 floors above hell and you don't know it yet. The hum of the server racks fills the space like a held breath, that particular frequency that gets into your teeth, your molars, the soft cartilage of your ears. You've been here for 47 minutes. You've counted. Not because you're paranoid, but because paranoia is just pattern recognition that hasn't learned to relax yet, and you've never been good at relaxing. The office is all exposed brick and deliberately artful decay. Someone once thought this was the aesthetic of genius. Water-stained ceilings, the kind that map continents nobody wants to visit, cables running like varicose veins across the walls. The developers who work here move like ghosts between monitors that glow with the particular blue of aquariums or operating theaters. Nobody looks at you. That's intentional. You've learned to be the kind of person who doesn't get looked at. Riley is somewhere near the coffee station, being aggressively normal. Riley is better at this than you are. Riley can smile in a way that doesn't look like a threat assessment. You've asked Riley not to smile around you, which is unfair, but Riley forgives you anyway because Riley is like that. You pull up the data again, the files that shouldn't exist. Cascade Prediction V7.1, the folder label reads, buried 4 directories deep in a partition that isn't supposed to be here. The title of your game, Cascade, sits in a different server farm entirely, 8 miles away, in your apartment, on the laptop where you've been building disaster simulations for the past 18 months. A game about infrastructure collapse, mundane, necessary, the kind of thing that keeps you from talking to people. But these files aren't yours. The timestamps on the data correlate with your game's development. Perfectly. Impossibly. Every catastrophic scenario you've coded, every bridge failure, every structural cascade, every domino arrangement of human fragility, these people have already documented it, not simulated it. Documented it. That's when the siren cuts through the floor. It's not a sound, it's a violation. It bypasses your ears and goes straight to the part of your brain that hasn't evolved past caves and predators. You feel your shoulders climb toward your skull. Around you, the other developers don't flinch. They've learned to absorb it. You haven't. Structural failure, someone mutters. Highway overpass, 3 counties east. Your fingers have gone numb. You're looking at the coordinates in the file. You're looking at the scenario code you wrote last week, a specific collapse pattern, a particular sequence of failure. The overpass is doing exactly what your simulation predicted it would do, not what you predicted, what someone else did, using your game as a Rosetta Stone. The siren fades. There's a moment where the absence of it is louder than the presence was. Riley materializes at your shoulder. Riley's coffee smells like it's been through industrial processes, like it's been synthesized rather than brewed. Status? Riley asks quietly. They're using the game, you say. Your voice sounds like someone else's, someone smaller. They're feeding real disaster data through the engine. They're predicting them. Or they're causing them, Riley finishes. You look at Riley. Riley looks at you with eyes that are suddenly very old. We need to get out of here, you say. Not yet, says a voice from behind you. A woman. Mid-40s, the kind of face that's spent a lot of time in fluorescent light. She has Riley's hand in a grip that's not quite a grip, just a proximity that's become proprietary. You're the developer, Silas Garrett. We've been waiting for you. Your stomach performs a physics experiment. Riley, I'm sorry, Riley says, and sounds like they mean it. But you need to understand what this is before you decide to blow it up. The woman's name is Dr. Ashford. She tells you this while walking you deeper into the collective, past servers that hum with the sound of disaster prediction running in real time. The screens display a network of monitors showing infrastructure across the region: bridges, dams, power grids, the invisible architecture that keeps civilization from noticing it's dying. Your game is beautiful, Ashford says. It's accurate in a way that suggests you've been thinking about failure longer than most people think about success. We noticed it 6 months ago. Started with small things, data correlation, anomaly detection. You were already modeling the patterns. You just didn't know why. Because I was making a game, you say. No, Ashford says, because you were documenting what was already happening. She shows you the real work. The collective isn't using your game to predict disasters. They're using your game to broadcast warnings. Every scenario you coded, every failure cascade gets encoded into Cascade's data architecture as a warning system for people who know how to read it. Gamers, developers, the kind of people who spend hours examining systems, looking for weaknesses. We tried traditional channels, Ashford says, governments, engineers, insurance companies. No one wants to know how fragile everything is. It's bad for profit margins, bad for comfort. But you built a system that makes people want to understand failure, that makes them spend hours studying collapse patterns. We just gave the patterns teeth. You're recruiting them, you say. Understanding arrives like a second siren. Through the game, you're turning players into watchers, into witnesses, Ashford corrects. And yes, some become more, some become part of the collective. Some start looking at their own local infrastructure. Some save lives because they understand what they're looking at. Through the floor comes another siren. This one sounds different, closer, urgent. Someone at a monitor sits up straighter. Municipal building downtown, they report. Electrical fire, second floor. Ashford checks her phone. Doesn't look concerned. The fire department was called 7 minutes ago, she says. By an anonymous tip. They'll arrive in 4. No one was supposed to be in that section. Everyone's going to be fine. You look at Riley. Riley is looking at their shoes. You knew, you say to Riley. You came here knowing. I came here, Riley says carefully, because I believed you should understand what your work was doing. Before you made the choice, I'm about to watch you make. The choice. Yes, you can see it now, arranged in front of you like pieces on a board. You can expose this collective. You can bring authorities down on this building, burn it all to the ground, preserve the sanctity of official channels and official ignorance. The warning system dies. The pattern recognition network goes dark. The next collapse happens, and the people who would have known to evacuate don't. Or you keep quiet. You let this continue. You participate in something that operates outside the law, outside the permission of people who've earned your skepticism through their own inaction. You can feel the weight of the disaster response center below you. Real people tracking real catastrophes, doing real work within systems that have already decided what's acceptable loss. The ceiling water stains spread a little further each day. Inevitability has a geographic presence. I need to think, you say. You have 3 minutes, Ashford says. Then we need to know if you're with us or if we need to disappear. Either way, Cascade stops being your game after today. Riley walks you to the window. From here, you can see the city's infrastructure like the exposed veins of something being dissected. Every bridge, every grid intersection, every point of possible failure. Your game has been showing people how to read this map. Your game has been an act of translation. They didn't recruit me, Riley says. I found them. I was looking for you, looking for where your work was coming from. And when I found this place, when I understood what they were doing, I realized you'd already known, on some level. You've always known that the world is failing. You've just been the only one honest enough to simulate it. Dishonesty would be easier, you say. Yes, Riley agrees, but we don't do easy, we do necessary. The ceiling above you has a new water stain. You didn't notice it before. It's spreading in the shape of something that might be a coastline or might be the map of damage spreading through a system right before it fails. Formless, inevitable. You think about the overpass that collapsed exactly as your simulation predicted. You think about the people who would have been there, the infrastructure workers scheduled for maintenance, who got an anonymous call telling them not to come in today. You think about every near miss in the data, every close call, every scenario where the system caught itself because someone understood what they were looking at. You think about official channels and their relationship with convenient ignorance. I'll do it, you tell Riley, but I want to know everyone who's working on this. I want to audit the prediction models. I want to understand what we're really doing before I help you do more of it. Riley nods. They look relieved, or perhaps they look the way they look when something shameful is finally being acknowledged. When you walk back into the center of the collective, Ashford is watching the monitors. A school building is showing signs of foundation stress, nothing catastrophic, nothing imminent. But on the screen, the algorithm is already running, calculating when it might become imminent, already preparing the warning. One condition, you say, we need to do more than warn, we need to fix. We need to be working with structural engineers, architects, people who can actually repair what's failing. Ashford smiles. It's not a nice smile, it's the smile of someone who's been waiting for you to catch up. That's the next phase, she says. We've been waiting for someone who understands systems well enough to build the repair protocols into the infrastructure itself. Someone who thinks in simulations. Someone like you. The siren sounds again. Below you, the Disaster Response Center tracks another crisis. Above you, your game sits on servers that are learning to predict the future. You realize, with the clarity of someone looking at themselves in a mirror held by a stranger, that you stopped being disillusioned the moment you understood what you were building. The numbness is gone. In its place is something that might be shame or might be purpose. The line between them is thinner than you expected. You sit down at a terminal, you pull up Cascade's architecture, you begin to work. Outside, the city's infrastructure hums its slow song of failure and near rescue. The water stains on the ceiling continue their patient spreading. And in the gaps between official knowledge and official action, something like grace is beginning to grow.
Thanks for listening to our story today. Our stories at Fables Adventures are created using the Fables Adventures app for iOS, available for both the iPhone and the iPad. And if you have enjoyed the story that you have just heard and want to create stories like this of your own, head over to the Apple App Store and download the app for yourself. There is a link in the description. You can also read the full text of the story that you have just heard at the link in the description of this story as well. Hit like, subscribe to our channel, and please leave us a comment about what you enjoyed about today's story. It really helps. We're trying to do something here at Fables Adventures to support people living with ALS or motor neuron disease, simply by creating content like this for you all to enjoy. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you tomorrow.